Hello?
Dude, where are you? It's time for your podcast.
Crap! Hi, I'm Simon Clark, and welcome to the Art of Creativity podcast, where we'll sit down with some of Omaha's most influential artists, musicians, writers, and creatives to explore their process for making art. All right, welcome back to the Art of Creativity podcast. I'm your host, Simon Clark, and with me today is...
Kelli Jones.
Kelli Jones. Kelli is in a musical group called The Bells, isn't that right, Kelli?
Yes.
So, Kelli, to kind of start out, why don't you give me your sort of the story of how you got into music? I mean, I've known Kelli for a while. We went to middle school, high school, all that. I think, is my sister your best friend or your second best friend?
No,
Third
my
best friend?
very best friend
Very
in the
best
whole
friend,
world.
right? So, Kelli and I, we're buds. Are we buds?
We're buds.
We're buds. So let's kind of jump into that. Your story, because I honestly don't know. It'll be a interesting tale. Why don't you give me that?
All right, so little backstory. My mom was in a band with her 4 sisters called Mulberry Lane. Growing up, I always, went to their shows and saw them backstage, and they had quite a bit of success. They got signed to a record label, MCA, out of LA in 1999.
Right.
And then they had a song out that was on the radio, and they toured the whole world.
The whole world.
And they went all around Europe and Japan, and they had just like such a crazy adventure.
So how are they? They're not all the same age.
No.
So what's the relation there of your mom and her sisters?
Well, they're all similar,
Mm.
but I mean,
Is your mom the youngest?
she's in the middle.
She's in the middle. Okay. Okay. Right.
When this was all happening, I was just a little baby.
Mm.
So
you remember it?
I mean,
Yeah.
it was definitely like during that time when she was gone so much, my dad and my grandma kind of took care of me.
Mhm.
Eventually, the record label actually went bankrupt.
Oh no.
So they got dropped and they moved back here to Nebraska.
Right.
And then that was when they kind of started doing their Christmas music, but they still performed all the time. And that's kind of how I grew up, was backstage at their shows.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Did you ever go with them on tour or anything? Too
Yeah.
young, or no?
No, I did for a lot of the time. I was backstage. Like one of the earliest memories I have was behind the scenes at the Iowa State Fair with them.
Yeah.
So it's been like a crazy journey, but ever since I was young, I always looked up to my mom so much, and I just wanted to be just like her.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like what led me to want to get into performing and singing and dancing was, and I was so bad at sports, Simon.
Yeah,
like
I
I
was
was
too.
horrible.
So your family made you do all the sports and everything?
Yes, like
Yeah.
she put me in soccer,
Yeah,
and I
same.
remember the first time I ever played soccer, I scored in the
I
other
did
person's
too.
goal. No
Really?
way!
I did too. I got the ball once and I scored
Yes,
it in
same.
our own goal.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I did it! And then everyone was like looking at me like, what are you
Because
doing?
they switch at halftime. Did
Yes,
you know
and
that?
I didn't know that.
We know that now, though.
We know that now. And
Yeah.
then I remember when I left, I was like, I told my mom, I was like, I'm never coming back.
Yeah.
Never.
That was a pretty influential childhood then,
Mhm.
being around your mom and all of that happening. So what was your first sort of introduction into your own music? And what age were you? What did you start with dance? Is that right? Or what?
I started dancing a lot, and then I would sing like Broadway shows. I was really into Broadway. I did a lot of productions at the Omaha Community Playhouse and the
Right.
Rose, and I just loved theater and singing and dancing. And my mom actually started writing songs just for like herself
Mhm.
when I was around 13,
Right.
and then I would watch her do it, and I just thought it was so cool. So I actually started like trying to write my own songs too. And then eventually I enlisted her help, and then we started writing together.
Yeah. And
So
is
that-
that sort of how the band came to be?
Yeah, so
Okay.
like it was that, and she was performing around town, and I wanted to be her backup singer.
Yeah.
So she let me be her backup singer for like 2 shows, and then we were playing
So
a
was
stage.
this just you and her at this point?
It was
or did
me
you
and
have a
her,
band?
and we had a band
Okay.
too.
Right.
And I was just one of the band guys. It was
Yeah.
fun.
That's fun.
I loved it though.
Yeah.
And then people were kind of suggesting to us, like you should be a duo, and I was like, yes, we should be a duo. I
Right.
would be so excited to be singing like and doing this full time. But my mom, like, she was a little hesitant because it's such like a difficult business,
Mhm.
and she wasn't sure if I was so young. It was just like hard for her to decide.
Yeah, it's a hard decision to make.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So she thought about it for like 4 months, and then finally she let me do this, and we started writing together, and we started as Bells and Whistles. So yeah, that was just kind of my life.
So you were around 13, 14 when you started the Bells, right?
I think I was 14,
14.
then.
So had you taken music lessons or anything before that? Or I know you did like show choir and all of that. When did all that start? Did that have an influence on the getting into all of this? Or
Yeah, so I mean, I started dancing when I was like 7 or 8, and then I started doing theater when I was 9, and then I've been doing that all through my whole life, and I did show choir in middle school, so it was just, I always loved to sing, and I was also taking guitar lessons at the time, so that was kind of like helped me with the songwriting aspect and understanding how chords work and all that stuff. So
right.
it happened just really naturally. Like I always knew that I wanted, like ever since I was little, when people would ask me what I wanted to be when I would grow up, I'd say a singer.
Yeah.
Or I wanted to be like,
And look at you now.
I know, it's
Yeah.
cool.
Do you remember in high school when we took that music theory class?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, we did pretty mediocre.
It was hard.
Yeah, it was good though. It was good to learn. And then I tried it again in college and it did not go nearly as well. It was a lot harder.
I feel like we were both at a disadvantage because
Yeah, 'cause
piano isn't our.
Yeah, I'm a drummer.
Yeah, and I play guitar,
Yeah.
and it was
It was a
very piano
yeah.
class.
Yeah,
so
but we got through it.
We did get through
What-
it.
I think I got a B. What'd you get?
I got an A.
Oh, dang it. That's all right. So, do you remember your very first show, your very first experience with your mom getting into the music industry? What you felt like that, or where it was? Any of that? Is that too long ago?
Well, a few of my very first shows, like one of them was at Red Sky Music Festival, which isn't a thing anymore, but back then it looked like a really
Your
big
first show was a
stage to me.
festival?
Well, it was my mom's show, but I was just being her backup
Oh,
singer.
right.
And I remember, like, because my mom, she really, like, had a really successful career for a long time, and she was used to, like, in-ear monitors and everything. And I remember I was just, like, so excited about everything.
Yeah, you jumped right up to in-ear monitors and all that?
No, I
I've
mean,
never
it
used
was
an
like,
in-ear.
we use them now, but
Yeah.
back then we just only had monitors, and I would just be so excited to have monitors,
Yeah.
And I was just so excited to do everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like she really, like, loved that about us doing it together, because I was just, like, so eager
Yeah.
and ready to learn.
And yeah, so that kind of pushed her to keep pursuing it with you,
Yeah.
and now you have 2 EPs?
2 EPs, but this one that's gonna come out is kind of like, I feel like it's our most important one.
Yeah.
And it's like what we've been working so hard towards.
Right. Can we take a little sample of that? Can we listen to a
Yeah,
track from that?
sure.
All right.
Of all the pain I've ever felt, all the ways my heart was cut uneven, left me bleeding. You could run it over in your mind, but when it comes, there's nothing like leaving. All the leaving. Ooh, when that train pulls out of town.
So you recorded those songs in Nashville, right?
Mhm.
And you're living part-time in Nashville?
Yeah, I'm in Nashville now most of the time. I come back here to do shows and to see my family and everything, but I'm more based out of there.
Yeah. What was that move like? What was that experience? What was the push to move to Nashville? And when did that happen again?
It was literally like a year ago,
Mhm.
but we have been going down to Nashville and meeting with people for like 3 years.
Yeah, just kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, just trying to figure out that
Yeah.
whole town.
So why
and
not just have a place to stay when you go, right?
exactly, and hotels were like so expensive.
Mhm.
We were like, it's basically the same thing, just get an apartment.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was there a lot during the summer, but I was also home a lot because we had so many shows over
Right.
the summer. But like starting in October, I was most of the time in Nashville writing songs.
So new EP, The Bells, right?
Uh-huh.
Comes out in 5 days on streaming services,
Yes.
right? So where did you record that?
We recorded it in Nashville at Westwood Studios, which was really crazy. Like the Dixie Chicks recorded their
Really?
album there.
Wow.
And it's really a historic place, and it's basically like a log cabin turned into a studio.
Right.
So it was so fun, and we got to work with an awesome producer named Mickey Jack Cones.
Right.
And he was so amazing to work with. He was so fun, and he's so talented. It seriously like blew my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So what was the recording process like for that?
Well, we worked really hard. We demoed about 40 songs
Really?
here in Omaha,
Man.
just at a local studio, just like
Oh, yeah,
guitar
at Make
vocals
Believe?
and Make Believe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Make
it
Believe.
was. Those guys are awesome,
Mhm.
and we really just like tried on all the songs we wrote. Some of them we didn't write, and then just picked the best 4 that we had.
Yeah. How was that? What determined the songs that got picked?
Well, we really wanted to do a lot of up-tempos for this project. So
Yeah.
we wanted it to be fun, and we wanted it live to have tons of energy. So we ended up with 3 up-tempos that we were solid about. And then
Right.
for the last song, we had to pick between another up-tempo or a ballad, and we went with the ballad.
Yeah, you gotta kind of break it up.
Exactly.
A bit. Yeah.
And now I'm so glad we did, because that one turned out to be, it might be my favorite
Yeah?
on the EP.
What's it called?
It's called The Leave-In.
Maybe that'll be the one we just listened to.
Yeah, I'll
I
give
don't
that
know.
one
Maybe
too.
it won't be.
Sure.
We'll see. So, you're in Nashville recording at
Westwood Studios.
Westwood Studios. So what's the process? Who goes first? How do you do it? Does the band lay down the track? Did you use session players? All that. What do we do?
So we got to use session players. We had a
And do
tracking
you find
day.
those guys in Nashville?
Mickey Jack found them
Right.
in Nashville, and they're like
The best of the best? Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, that's
it
awesome.
was seriously incredible.
Mhm.
So we did 2 sessions that day. The first 2 songs,
You recorded them all in a day?
yeah,
Really?
they all recorded at the same time,
Oh yeah.
and
So it's got a really live feel.
really
to it?
live feel,
Yeah,
and then they
great.
can go back and then fix like or add stuff or whatever.
Mhm.
So it was, and I sang like the scratch vocal
Right.
during that day, and it was seriously like, I was so excited because I've never heard any music that sounded so much like me or like
Yeah.
what I wanted to
Yeah.
make.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
That's awesome.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
It kind of blew my mind, and then after that, it was Thanksgiving, and then we took a break, and then we came back, and then we did vocals, and then I laid down my lead vocals, and my mom came in and did her low parts, and then I went back in and did some high parts, and then
So
we were done.
what's the timeline for the entire recording process?
I think we started at the beginning of November, and we finished it like mid-December.
Oh yeah, so it's a pretty quick turnaround, right?
Pretty quick, but it was really
Really intense.
really intense,
Yeah.
and it was fun though.
And then you go it's to mixing and mastering all that,
Mhm.
and now a few months later it's out
yeah,
and it's great. I went to their show last Friday, right?
Yep.
And it was great. I mean, it was the first time I had heard the new songs. It was an acoustic set, right?
Yep.
So is that something you guys do a lot?
Yeah, it is, especially for those opening shows.
Was that the premiere show of the new song?
Yeah, that was the first time we played them.
Yeah, and it went great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was really nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I think it went
was
well.
a packed show too.
Uh-huh.
What's the biggest show you've done, or what are some of the big venues you've played? And let's go into that.
Well, we've had a lot of, luck on the road with that kind of stuff. We have opened at the Missouri State Fair for Brett Eldridge. So that was really fun. We
Right.
got to open for Kenny Rogers at the Kentucky State Fair.
Kenny Rogers. I know
And-
that name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I got to meet him. He was so nice.
Yeah.
And we did last February, we did 2 weeks at the Florida State Fair.
And how big are these crowds at some of these festivals?
Oh, I think the biggest one's probably like 8 or 10,000.
Jeez, really?
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah. And the Florida State Fair gig that you were there for two weeks.
2 weeks, and
How
that
many
was
shows a day was that?
3.
3 shows a
on-
day?
No, 3, and then 4 on the weekends.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was 40 shows total.
And
in
how
12
long are
days.
the sets?
45.
Really? That's
Yeah.
crazy. I bet you got really good after the
I
first couple
did.
days.
I
Yeah.
feel like that was really like where I honed my craft.
Yeah, of course. Where is this going? What's the end goal here? What's the plans for the future?
Well,
You're still in school, right?
Yeah, so I go to UNO online.
Mhm.
I started UNO as a chemistry major.
Uh-huh.
I did that for
Right.
a year,
Yeah.
and I was like, it was basically come to the point where I had to decide,
Mhm.
like, am I gonna commit to chemistry and spend like 24 hours a
Yeah.
week in a lab,
Yeah.
or am I gonna like try to do the music things? I
Yeah.
couldn't keep doing both.
Yeah. You didn't have good chemistry with school.
Oh.
That's good. So
So yeah, and then I basically I went into my counselor and I was like, I have to make a change.
Mhm.
I want to move to Nashville. I want to really pursue this. So they referred me over to the Division of Continuing Studies,
Mhm.
and they really worked with me. And now I'm getting my degree in nonprofit administration
nice.
and a minor in women's studies.
Nice. How
So yeah.
intensive is that online degree?
I mean, it's still a lot of work. I'm still a full-time student.
Mhm.
So, the last 2 days, I've just been writing papers and turning them in because it's
Man.
midterms,
Yeah.
And sometimes it's so much to handle, like the Florida State Fair. When we were doing those shows, I was still doing school
Oh yeah, man.
during that. And
That's
I was
crazy.
literally like doing a 45-minute show, going back to my trailer,
Yeah,
writing a paper,
another
going back
show.
out,
Yeah.
and then coming back. And it
Man.
was just like, it was insane. And I feel like it's really taught me a lot about using my time wisely and just like getting
Do you
things
ever
done.
sleep?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah, that's the word. So we kind of got off track a bit there, but what?
Yeah.
So what? Where do you see this going? Where do you want it to go?
Well, I'm just kind of loving what I'm doing in Nashville right now with the whole songwriting thing. I really, want to continue doing that. I think we're hoping the ultimate end goal would be to, start playing a lot of shows and going on tour and maybe
Get
getting
some more albums out.
yes,
Yep.
and just maybe moving forward with like a record label.
Mhm.
So that's kind of what we're working towards right now.
Do you think you'll move to Nashville full time eventually?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I love living in Nashville, but like our fan base and
Yeah.
where we play shows is here.
And your family and everything.
And my
it'd be a
I
lot
mean,
to
I don't
leave.
think I'll ever totally move to Nashville just
Mhm.
because of the shows that we play here.
Yeah. Right.
So I think I'll always keep coming back, but primarily I'm going to be in Nashville
Yeah.
for a long time. So
Okay. Well, Kelly, I want to thank you for coming on The Art of Creativity. I had a lot of fun. Do you have fun?
yes.
I had a lot of fun. You can check out the bells on Snapchat,
Yeah.
Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebook,
Yep.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Is that it?
YouTube.
YouTube website.
Yes.
I believe the handle is at Bells Music, right?
Yep.
Nice.
And
I am
it's
killing it.
BELLES.
Bellies.
When that train pulls out of town, when those tires are peeling out, a light turns on.
Hello.
Hey man, that was a great show. Thanks for having me.
Give me
That's it for this week. Join us next time on The Art of Creativity for a new artist, a new story, and a new process behind the art.
I can't